beautiful beings and conscious co-creators. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a special thank you and a special shout out to every single one of you all who hit that subscribe button in any of the previous videos. It is so awesome to see the channel growing pretty fast, and I'm just excited to continue doing these pick-a-cards, and I am trying to get a schedule together, and the hope is that I can make these videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So definitely make sure you hit that notification bell as well so that you don't miss out on those videos. But yeah, we're just going to jump into it. No super long intro. Oh, but I do want to let you guys know, for those who don't, that I am creating a course. It's going to be at the beginning of the year, January 2020. I'm going to release the course. And it's just a course that is designed to help anyone who is beginning their spiritual journey, who has started their awakening, and they are ready to just learn and put themselves in position where they can just become a sponge to all of this information that they may have never even fathomed being out there. It is designed to help anyone who kind of felt like I felt when I started my journey, which is, what do I listen to? Where do I go? Who do I listen to? What do I read first about? How do I find my way? What is my life purpose? Like all of that information. What are crystals? What is energy? What is frequency? All of those things. I wanted to create a course that just put out the basic information for you all in one package, so that you felt comfortable knowing what direction you wanted to go by the time you finish the course. Okay. And it's going to come with, PDFs, information. It's just jam-packed with information that is helpful for you. So if there's something that you're interested in, I'm also having a giveaway as well. So if that is something that you're interested in, there is a link below that you can click on and put your information in, and that way you'll stay updated whenever my course releases. You'll be one of the first people to know about it. Okay, so that's the only announcement I have, and we're going to jump right into the video. Okay, guys, so what you see here is 4 different pictures. Okay, this is a what is your life purpose, plus any additional messages that may come out while I'm reading. This is going to be what is your life purpose, pick a card. So what I have is just a little different from I think any of the videos I've done before, but I do like this format. So what it is there's 4 different images, and I want you to pick what image most resonates with you. And I'm also going to put numbers on the side so that you all can know what group you're in. Okay, so the numbers just appeared. We have 1, and these numbers are on the top left side of the picture. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whatever image is just holding your attention, I want you to pick. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I will meet you all at your pile. Okay, so this is going to be the reading for Group 1. The first 2 cards that I'm going to pull are going to be about your life's work. So the first card is going to, that was pulled is crystals, okay? And it says, your connection to crystals and gemstones is a channel for healing energy. So that was the first card that was pulled. And then the second card pulled next after that was protected, okay? It's a picture of an angel. And it says, you are safe and supported while you change your career. So those 2 cards, again, are going to represent your life's work. So really what that's saying is that whatever it is that you plan on doing, it's going to, or at least it possibly really should include crystal work. If you're new to crystals or you don't really understand how crystals work, first you want to understand that crystals are in a lot of things that you wouldn't even realize that they're in, like, watches, they're in computers, their crystals pull energy and then they direct energy as well. And that's why a lot of people use crystals for healing. And it says that you have and I'm so sorry guys if you can hear the cars going by. I worked on my audio, but I cannot do anything with the cars. Okay, side note. But with you guys, you have a divine connection to crystals, and you can use that connection for healing energy and healing purposes, and that's with other life beings, like or other beings rather. So you can do that to help animals. You can do that to help other people. When you start to understand how crystals work, what crystals are used for what, how to direct energy, it's really kind of it's something that you will find, at least for yourselves, group one, really just naturally being able to do. It doesn't take a lot for you to understand crystals. And when crystals, by the way, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, crystals are these. These are crystals, okay? So, you have your amethyst right here, okay? You have citrine. Okay, and then I love this. I probably put this in like every video because I just love tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is all about trying to keep your mind open to different perspective, open to learning and teaching, or open to receiving messages of sorts. So anyway, and then I have pyrite and rose quartz in the back. But when you start learning about crystals and you start understanding how they work and how to use them to help others, I feel like you're going to start to shift more into your actual life's work. And I do see also with the crystals card that some of you, this could be in the realm of, jewelry making. Maybe you go into making necklaces, rings, bracelets with crystals, or you can just have an actual legitimate crystal shop. Maybe you go to different places in the world to find these crystals to provide them for people for healing purposes. You can do that as well. Like, the thing is that there is no limit with this. I just feel like this card is saying, and your purpose is really all about making sure you include crystals in whatever it is that you do. They are kind of leaving you a little open, and it's probably because you guys are more on the creative side. Then you're more creative than analytical, and also what this says is that your angels are protecting you. Your angels have your back. Some of you all very well might be making a career change, changing course, changing your path. Maybe you realize that what you're doing right now isn't fulfilling you in the ways that after your spiritual awakening or development or whatever it is that you're going through, maybe after that you realize that what you're doing now isn't fulfilling. And so perhaps maybe that's why you stumbled on this video. And so just to kind of, apparently this message is something that you're needing to see, is that, whatever it is that you decide to do, know that you are safe and supported. Your angels are, with you. And I think that is an absolute message from your angels, that to let you know to not be concerned or worried about how you're going to make it, how you're going to survive, or what have you, that you really just need to focus more on following your heart. And like I said, this is just really saying to me, crystals really, it's just saying that whatever it is that you're doing is supposed to be involving crystals and gemstones, and you guys are you're divinely connected to crystals, and perhaps you might even find it easy to channel and easy to just relate to other people, help other people, see other people's auras even. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you all with this, with the 2 life purpose cards. Now we're going to go into what's obvious and what is hidden. Okay, so what's obvious, right, is we have the Ace of Drums. Okay, and what is hidden is we have the 5 of Bows. Okay, so the Ace of Drums, right? And this is formally called the drum of the dance, okay? And really, this is all about sensuality. This is all about movement. This is all about dancing, just being in the moment, just being really fluid. And like I said earlier with the crystals, when I was talking about the crystals card, is that I feel like a lot of you that picked group 1 are less analytical and more creative. So really this is always kind of symbolizing moving at the beat of your own drum, moving with just how you feel and not necessarily how you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to look at. And I feel like the more you go into your spirituality, you'll start to really see how different you are from other people, if that makes sense. So that is something to keep in mind, that this is probably the most obvious thing that you maybe are, you're either starting to realize this and it's becoming that much more apparent, or this is something that you've really known your entire life. But yeah, you do kind of walk to the beat of your own drum. You are different. And like I said, I feel like this is going to really aid you in whatever type of work that you do when you do decide to go into the crystal work. It's going to aid you because you will probably find clients or customers who definitely gravitate towards you because of your personality, because you're different, because you are more open than other people that they may have came across. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, what is hidden is the 5 of bows, okay? And the 5 of bows is about appearances. So it's interesting that these 2 cards were actually pulled to represent the area that they do, because for this to be hidden really means that maybe on a subconscious level you are maybe still trying to fit in and look the part, and that is something that you possibly are struggling with, is that even though there are aspects about you that are crying to get out and they're wanting to tell you, hey, look, we're different, just embrace this. Some of you all are not embracing this Ace of Drums energy. And so there's a little bit of conflict within self. And if you see in this card, he's walking and he's seeing 3 different images of himself. Okay, you see that? So it's really just, a conflict within where perhaps some of you all are trying to fit into this box that you are not meant to even be putting yourself in the first place. All right, that's something that can be interpreted from this 5 of bows card. So just keep that in mind, that this is a hidden aspect of yourself. And I would honestly challenge those of you all to, if you don't know what your moon sign is, find out what your moon sign is and kind of try to use that energy to work on this 5 of bows, if this is something that resonates with you. If you are struggling with your own identity as far as who you are, what you're supposed to or struggling with the fact that, you feel like you should do one thing, but you're being led to do another. If that's something that you're struggling with, I implore you to try to channel your moon sign. Okay, so you have your sun sign, your moon, and your rising. Those are the 3 most basic ones. But your moon sign, it tells you how it's removing ego. Essentially removing ego out of the way and having an honest conversation with yourself, and really just be real, because right now with the fact that he's looking in a mirror and he's seeing 3 different images, it's basically saying you're split. And if your attention is split, if you're at conflict with yourself, then you're not going to really be able to be devoted into your life purpose of helping other people with crystals and healing. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the fork in the roads, and I picked 2 cards for those. Okay, so the first card I picked was the 7 of Cups. Okay, you guys can see that's the 7 of Cups. Okay, so I picked that, right? And then I also picked the Emperor card. If you can hear my dog snoring, I apologize. He is, really into, sleeping hard these days. So if you can hear him snoring, I'm sorry. Anyway, Seven of Cups and the Emperor card. So what I'm seeing right now is that for some of you all, perhaps the reason that you're feeling that Five of Bows energy that we just looked at, make it like that. Okay, so because some of you all who are feeling that Five of Bows energy, it may be because of this Seven of Cups, where you have too many options and you need to focus on one. And like I said, this is probably the energy of why you're feeling so split and having to make a decision. And with that Emperor card, it really just says that there is a side of you, although you are more creative, that you do still like structure, and you like things to essentially, you like things to make sense. So I do feel like there is a bit of conflict there, that you either have the option of staying where you are and going with the thing that makes sense, and essentially building that box to put yourself in. You can go that direction, and there's no right or wrong. The whole concept of fork in the road is really just to give you a understanding of the different type of choices that you have, okay? And so you have the choice to essentially stay your course and continue down the road that is more along the lines of like a straight and narrow, where you are following the rules, you are going by the status quo, you are doing what you are expected to do, and by expected to do, I mean others are expecting you to do. You can go that route and see where that takes you, of course. But on the other side, with the Seven of Cups, seeing that you have all of these options, and yes, you do want to focus yourself on one, but the fact that this is another option where if you go, like this is if you go right, and then this one would be like essentially if you go left, and if you go left, you have a lot more things to pick from. Seven of Cups card doesn't necessarily complement the Emperor. They kind of represent different things. Okay, now a lot of people will say that the Seven of Cups can be a disillusionment of certain things, or like it could represent an individual just feeling overwhelmed with what's in front of them, and just not really being able to make decisions. But there is freedom. There's freedom in being able to fantasize and have dreams and be able to go after your dreams. I mean, you have so many different ideas, and that is part of your creative identity, is that you are a dreamer, and so I feel like to choose the path that you want to take, that is the fork in the road that you are probably at right now. And being there is the last card that I pulled, which is gonna be like the sign to look for, if that makes sense. So there's a sign to look for when you do come across this fork in the road. If you're not there yet, if you are there yet, if you're not there yet, this is the sign to look for. If you are there and this resonates with you so far, then pay attention. All right, so this is the card. It's water, the water element, and it is sensing. Okay, and it's so funny that the water element was picked for you all, because if you don't know, the Seven of Cups card, this card right here, this is ruled by Scorpio, which is a water sign. So the fact that water element, which says sensing, was pulled for you guys, the fact that the water sign was picked for you all really just means that there's a lot more intuition in you than I think that you're giving yourself credit for. And what you need to do is stop trying to essentially put your hands on things and just intuitively let life guide you. I feel like, and then this goes all the way back to the protected card that I pulled at the very beginning, where I feel like there is some concern about your well-being, and your angels are saying, hey, we're here, we got you. And so basically, if you could just remove this like stronghold that you have and just kind of allow certain things to just flow, and release that hold that you have, I feel like it'll make it a lot easier to pick between those two forks in the road. Essentially, this is your sign. I do, like I said, the water element, like sensing. It's all like it's water, and I think I said this. I don't know if I said this in a video or not, but water. If we could all just be like water and just go and not contain ourselves. Wherever we go is where we go, and just be so fluid. Be fluid in your decision making, as far as listening to source, connecting, and not making decisions off of fear or survival. We talk about chakras in the course that I am making, and one of the things, the very first chakra that is the most talked, well, it's not the most talked about, but out of the 7 chakras that are the most talked about, the very first one is your root chakra, and the root chakra deals with survival. And it's so funny that when you're going through the process of unblocking and clearing out your chakras, to get out of the mindset for your root chakra, to get out of that mindset of, I have to survive, I have to do what it takes to survive, this is survival of the fittest. You understand that it's really not survival of the fittest, and that's one of the first things you can be able to tell when it comes to clearing out your root chakra is, are you trying to survive or are you trying to live? And those are two different things. And, that may hit some people, for others it may not, and that's totally fine. My messages are not for everyone, so I understand that. But for those that resonate with that, understand that if you're not already at that fork in the road, there will be a time where you will get there, and you will see this opportunity to just intuitively follow what it is that you feel, because you're gonna feel that, like, that gut feeling to do something that may not make any sense at all. It may not make any sense at all, and that's fine. But once you feel that, you'll see that this is the moment where I make a decision that could potentially change the course of my whole entire life. And when that comes, make your decision. Like I said, there is no wrong or right way. You can do the Emperor card. Let me move this really quick. You can do the Emperor, or you can choose the 7 of Cups. There is no wrong or right, but I will say, whatever decision it is that you make, just don't make it in fear, okay? Because angels are telling you there's nothing to fear. You're protected, okay? So that is going to be the reading for group 1. I hope this was quick. But yeah, if this resonated with you, Ashe, I'm grateful. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with any new videos that I put out. Hit that notification bell. And I'm going to go ahead and go to group 2, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Okay, so this is going to be the reading for group 2. Okay, so the first 2 cards I'm going to pull out are going to represent your actual life's work. Okay, so the first card of the 2 is the counseling card. Okay, and this counseling card says, you heal with kind words, wise advice, and an empathetic ear. Okay, and that's the image. Okay. And then the second card is books. What it says, books. And it says, you connect to your life purpose through your involvement with books. Okay. So those are the 2 cards that I pulled for group 2 to represent your life's work, your life's path. What are you most likely going to end up doing? What is the reason you came here for? Please keep in mind before I go into this reading that this is not going to resonate with everyone. My messages are not for everyone, but this is a collective reading. So, take what does resonate with you and leave the rest, just like I say in my description. But right off the top, I'm seeing counseling and books, and I'm feeling like those who picked group 2 understand that you guys have a story. you have a story to tell, and your story is going to actually help people who are going through their own trials and tribulations. I see you guys as being survivors of a lot of circumstances. I feel like you guys have not had an easy life. I feel like there has been a lot of things that have happened to you at the hands of other people. And I feel like your story and your testimony up to this point has been already probably something that a lot of people would probably have trouble even, believing that all of these things happened to you. And so because your story is so, just like, it's such an amazing story of like how you were able to come out of the situations that you came out of. And I'm talking even all the way back to childhood. I just feel like you've overcame so much. You are survivors, you are warriors, and warriors, not worriers, but warriors. Sorry, I say that word very weird. But anyway, because you guys, you have that testimony, what your life path is going to encompass is really just going and spreading that message. You have a message to spread. You have people to help. And even with the books card right here, even with that card, like you have books to publish about what happened to you and how you overcame that and why you are the strong person that you are today. And and I just see you really connecting with your books. I feel like your books are going to be very personal, and I feel like some of you all already write. I feel like throughout whatever has happened to you, you've kind of found solace in writing or drawing or painting, something to do with your hands, like, painting, drawing, writing, something to do with your hands. You have found solace in doing. And so to create a book would not be a far stretch from what you naturally enjoy doing and escape to in the first place. But with the counseling, that could include, coaching, or being a counselor, and that could be, the counseling realm is so wide and broad, and so a lot of times forgiving as far as what you decide to do, and changing course if you decide you go into one aspect of counseling and you find out that you really desire to be in a different part of counseling. It's so forgiving. But I do feel like counseling is something that, one, you probably already do in and of itself already. Like, you probably already have people that come to you and just give their deepest, darkest secrets to, and just like you find yourself just like sitting there listening to people just spill all of their worries and all of their fears and stuff to you. I see you already doing that, and it does say you have an empathetic ear. So I feel like you just kind of allow people, you hold space for people. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. You are innately good at holding space for people. And what that means, if you don't know what holding space just means that you provide a safe space for someone to just kind of deposit whatever is going on with them, and allowing that person to feel comfortable doing that, because you are not coming from a judgmental place. You are coming from a very loving, compassionate place, probably because you've either been there, either in this life or in a past life, or you're just able to just allow them to offload, random, but I feel like some of you all who picked this group, you may be life path 11, and I'm just randomly getting that. If you don't know what life path is, or your life path number, basically you add up all of the digits in your birthday, 2-digit month, 2-digit day, 4-digit year. You add up all of those digits, and you add them up until you get to a certain number. It's either going to be a 1-digit number, or it could be a master number of 11, 22, and 33. I do talk about this in depth in my course, but you could also look it up, of course. You can look it up, but look up your life path number, because some of you all very well may be life path 11s, and that's why you're so easily able to connect to other people, because you've been here before. You've done a lot of these things. You can relate because this has happened before. All right. I mean, something that they have done has happened to you in one way, shape, form, or fashion. Okay. Like I said, you guys are warriors and survivors in more than one lifetime. So you've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. You've had to endure a lot and experience a lot. So that's what I'm getting off the top with both of those cards. Now, I'm going to go and pick out or pull out the obvious and hidden paths. So the first one is the most obvious path. And right here, this is going to be the 7 of Drums. Okay, so that's what the card looks like. And the formal name for that is suppleness. And so, again, what I was saying with this card is she just has a natural ability to adapt to circumstances. She basically takes whatever life throws at her, and she figures out a way to make it work. And she, even if you can see her face, she looks very unbothered. And it's really just kind of understanding that, that saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's what I feel from that card. Like, you just like the ability to adapt and adjust. You have gotten to the place where that has happened to you so many times. It's just almost innate in you to do that. So like I said, that's just a warrior card. That's a card that just says that you go where it is that life takes you. I don't see a lot of resistance with you guys. I see that you are, like I said, with the counseling card, you're just naturally allowing people, you being allowing makes for a phenomenal counselor or coach, just to put that out there. Now, for the hidden cards, I do have, this is the evocation card. That's what it's called. I just love the imagery in this deck. So that's the evocation card, and I typically set intention to pull out 2 cards, but this one came right behind that one, so I had to keep it because I do not argue or debate with tarot. So this is the 9 of Bones card, which is so we have the evocation card, and then we have the 9 of Bones card. Sorry. And the 9 of Bones card is going to be fear. That's what that card is formally called. So this is what's obvious, and these 2 are what is hidden. So obviously, I just went through the what's obvious, which is the fact that you guys are warriors and survivors, and you guys adjust and adapt. You guys have spent a long time doing it, so it's not that big of a deal when you have to do it. But what is hidden is that there is a bit of fear that is kind of... There's a bit of fear, subconscious fear. Perhaps maybe you're telling yourself that you're good and you're okay, but there's a bit of fear that maybe there's too much unknown going on, and you're just not that comfortable with it at your deepest parts of yourself. You're not that comfortable with it. That fear card is a lot of times that fear can keep us out of danger. That's something to take note of. So, fear can sometimes keep you out of situations that are just not the wisest for you to be in, but it's something that you want to be aware of. At least you want to be aware that you are operating in a state of fear, because one, it can save your life, but if you're doing it... Sorry, that car is very loud. But if you're doing this... if you're doing this all the time, and subconsciously, it can actually hinder your progression in your spiritual journey. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. But also, what is hidden, which is interesting, is this card, this evocation card. It's all about a realization, a awakening of sorts, or maybe possibly a reawakening. So what's hidden is that, for those of you all who maybe haven't started your spiritual journey, or perhaps maybe that's something that you're coming up to very soon, maybe there's an awakening in store for you, and perhaps maybe that it's coming, and maybe there's some fear. Maybe there's fear in releasing, I don't know. That's what I'm feeling. There's, for some of you all, at least, that with this Nine of Bones, I think that because of the fact that you worked so hard and struggled maybe for a while to obtain what it is that you have, to come to the place where you start a spiritual journey that possibly involves you relinquishing or letting go of certain assets, certain things that you have decided essentially make you comfortable or make you happy, or symbolize that you're good, you're okay, you don't have to struggle. I feel like some of you guys have worked to a place where you say like, okay, I came from this and now I have this, so I'm good, like this is what I need. And perhaps maybe your spiritual awakening is telling you to get rid of it. That's a little deep, but that is something that I am seeing. And I feel like, and again, this might not go for everybody, but I feel like those who pick 2, you might be earth signs. You might be a Taurus, a Capricorn, or a Virgo, okay? And I want to let you know that the tangible assets that you acquire, it's all good and everything, but it can't be everything, because then there's no balance. You can't make something your everything. So yes, we can acquire these tangible things, and they can symbolize that, you acquired this, $500,000 house, and because you were born into poverty, this house symbolizes that you no longer have to struggle, and that's great. But if you're called to undertake a spiritual awakening or spiritual journey, or enhance your spirituality, in the sense of helping your with the counseling card, like allowing people to be counseled under you, or allowing yourself to coach other people and share your message with other people, because maybe you're not doing that. Maybe you're just lending an ear, but you haven't really told people what you've went through, what you've overcome, what you've accomplished. I think to let the tangible things not necessarily run your life anymore or govern your life anymore, really, I feel like moving your focus from trying to obtain those things and focusing on your book and your counseling, and allowing fear to not prevent you from doing these 2 things. I feel like this is what's going to stop you. So don't allow it to, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. With this fear, this Nine of Bones fear card, don't allow fear to stop you from telling your story, because you endured that for a reason. Okay. And I feel like for those who resonates with this, there are people out there that their lives are going to change when they read your book. Okay, when they hear from you, when you go on that stage and tell your story, it's gonna change people's lives. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. And now that was a little deep, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go into the 2 fork in the road cards. Okay, and these cards just represent possible decisions that you would need, that are gonna, either that you need to make, or that you will more than likely have to make. These are, of course, prediction cards, so keep that in mind. We have the 10 of Pentacles card in reverse. Okay, and then we have the 6 of Cups. So with that Ten of Pentacles card in reverse, that talks about, to me, it reads as a gambling card. It talks about possibility of profit and loss, of winning or losing. It is basically saying that you are just taking a risk. You're making a gamble and you're opening yourself up for the possibility of one or the other happening, but definitely making that gamble. And then the Six of Cups card right here, a lot of times the Six of Cups talks about nostalgia, but for you guys, I'm seeing that reading as safety. And so, I mean, technically these cards really are juxtaposing. This is both like split, so you can go this way or this way. And so this is representing your safety net. This is representing home life, family life, relationships, keeping everything in your own little bubble. Because like I said, you guys are warriors. I think you've worked so hard to get to a place where your life now resembles nothing like how you grew up or what you have experienced. However, for some reason, I just keep feeling like you're going to be put into a path where you either choose to make a risk and just like kind of go in a different direction, or to choose the other side, which is to kind of keep it safe, play it safe, because this is very risky. But with great risk comes great reward. You just have to understand what you're willing to gamble and give up. And I just want to say, for this side note, like I said, with the fact that I think some of you all are earth signs, which is the Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, I do want to say that, like I said, assets are great, but they can't be everything. And so I feel like, just keeping that in mind when you come to this path of having to pick which one, because like I said, I feel like this is a fork in the road, and there will come a time where you'll have to make a decision of how you want to play this, and it could be a life-changing and life-altering decision for you all, especially if you are planning on going into counseling, because that very well could be something that is it could start out unstable, or it could start out booming. I mean, you never know. That's that risk part that we're talking about here. But I do want to say that there is technically a sign that I pulled with the intention of what sign should they be looking for when they're faced with these decisions. And it's so funny, y'all, because I picked these cards. Like, I literally spread the cards out, each deck. I spread them out, and I just intuitively picked the cards for you. Okay, I just want to put that out there. And this card came out, 12th house escape. For you guys, 12th house escape. The word escape, and because of what I'm talking about, I just think it's so interesting how your deck has came together. But I think what's happening is you guys have gotten a little comfortable, and 12th house represents the high and the low, the point of it all, the end and the beginning. I mean, it's really just a wrapping up of sorts. And so for you guys to have pulled the 12th house, for me, the sign of you possibly being put in a position where your world may be rocked a little bit, that sign that may come up, and it may be the point in which you have to decide how you want to play the rest of your hand. I mean, do you want to do the Six of Cups energy and kind of just, stay within the bubble that you have worked so hard to stay in? Or do you want to take that risk and that leap of faith and, go in and, just take that leap of faith? I mean, because either way, you can do both. Look, I mean, not both. Sorry, hold on. You can pick this Six of Cups energy and still go out and write your book, or still go out and coach. But I think what this card is saying here is to basically give up the attachment to the things that you've acquired. And not necessarily give up, meaning throw them away or give them away, because you can still keep them, but to tell yourself that these things don't mean what I've actually told them to mean. you can remove the meaning that you need these things. You can remove that so that you're unattached to the house, to the car. So it's like, yes, I use the car and I'm grateful for the car, but I'm not attached to the car. If they come and take this car tomorrow, I will be fine because I'm a warrior and I'm a survivor. That's what I'm talking about when I say give up or be unattached. So I'm not saying give your car away, because I'm not giving my car away, but I'm also unattached to my car, if that makes sense. Okay. So that is what I'm reading for you guys. I know it's a little deep, but I have to just read what I'm intuitively instructed to say. So I have to say what I'm intuitively instructed to say is what I meant to say. But yeah, so that is the reading for group 2. If this resonates with you, because I know it won't resonate with everybody, but if it does resonate with you, Ashe, I'm grateful that I was able to help you and provide this message for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with the videos that I'm cranking out, because I am cranking them out, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and go into group 3. But I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Okay, group 3. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with your reading. The first thing I'm going to do is pull out the 2 cards that came out first, and these cards are going to represent your life's work. Okay, so the first one is energy healing. You can see it here, and I don't know if it's going to show up in the camera, but she does have the 7 chakras going in a line with within, like, where her spine would be and going up. If you don't know anything about chakras, I do cover that in my course, just to put that out there. But of course you can do your own research, but those are the chakra centers on this card. And basically this card says your natural energy healing abilities are an important part of your life's purpose. Really what this card talks about is that you have a innate and divine ability to heal. You're a healer. You can channel energy pretty well. I mean, it's something that you are naturally able to do. You came into this world with that ability to do. And I mean, you might need instruction. You might need to go and, do some research or sit with a master of sorts, but it is something that you are naturally able to do, and possibly naturally inclined to do as well. I also want to say that when I see this card, it just screams out, not just energy healing in the sense of Reiki. And if you don't know what Reiki is, I also talk about that as well in the course. But of course, you can look up all of the stuff that I'm saying. But really quick, briefly, Reiki is being able to channel energy for healing purposes with your client or whoever is laying on the table in front of you or sitting in front of you. And it's all about using your hands. And that's why when I see this card, especially the fact that she has her hands out and open, like, I just see you having this ability to be a very effective Reiki master and being able to heal people and channel healing into people as well. So that is something that I am seeing. I feel like it's definitely going to be a part of your life's purpose, a part of your reason, a part of the reason, why you have these natural abilities is because these are tools. And I do feel like one of the tools you have is the ability to use your energy to heal. And I also pulled this card, it says, talk to your angels. Instead of worrying, ask for guidance. So I pulled that card as well. And what this card really talks about, for some of you all, you may be in a state of confusion, worry, panic, just not very secure in where you are. Perhaps maybe you've already started in this journey of energy healing, and maybe you're not necessarily getting the results you thought you would get. Maybe there's a little bit of impatience there. And what this card is telling you to do is to just talk to your angels, whether that's in the form of meditation, whether that's in the form of a prayer. Definitely up to you, your preference. But this card is saying that you might want to consult with your angels and even your guides for divine guidance, because they are essentially here to help you and aid you and to basically remind you that you are not alone, that even if you feel like you're lost and by yourself, that's just not the case. But that message is for those who are definitely feeling insecure in where they are in life right now. Okay, so that message was definitely supposed to be for someone who's watching this video and picked this group. Okay, so yeah, I'm just seeing energy healing. And I want to say also with energy healing, it's important, if you are going into that realm, that field, that you make your priority your health. Being spiritual beings, there are certain things that we just have to accept are for us and really not for us. For instance, right now, and I'll even use myself for an example, my diet and how I eat significantly affects my ability to connect, essentially, connect with guides. The worse that I eat, the more it affects my ability to stay tapped in and tuned in to what my guides are saying to me. And I've noticed that over the course of several months. So I've actually been making, progressions to make that not a case, so that I can effectively be a tool to be used, because that's what I want to do on this channel. And so I'm speaking from experience, because of course no one is perfect, and I'm not striving to be perfect, because if I was, then there would be I don't feel a purpose of being on this earth. But I will say that being in the energy healing field, you have to make sure that you are grounded and you are tapped in to source, whatever source is for you, whether that's God, whether that's just a higher being, whether that's just you and your highest state of consciousness, whatever source is to you. You want to make sure you are as tapped into that as you can be, and not so concerned so much with what's going on this planet, because I feel like there's a specific people who pull this card, this healing energy card. Like, I just feel like the assignment for you guys is so specific that you can't afford distractions. And so I even see a lot of you guys, when you go really deep into this, like, if you notice, like, there's a reason why a lot of people like this are, they keep to themselves, because you pick up energy extremely well, and it could possibly be a little draining for you, even just to do sessions. And so how you reboot is essentially to just spend time by yourself. So you guys may be kind of like loners, or you may be people who live kind of not within the city, or wanting to not live within the city. You may either live in the city and desire to be somewhere out in nature, or by water, or that's something that you're already doing. I feel like for those of you guys who pick group 3, there's a possibility that you're kind of already going into this realm. You're already experiencing this, and that's why this card came out again, because it's telling you to seek divine guidance. Don't forget about your angels, basically. Don't forget about them. They're there. But also make sure that you are taking care of yourself. And that is your mentally and physically. Make sure that you're healthy on a physical standpoint, and then make sure that whatever you're consuming, even mentally, like what you're listening to, what you're watching, make sure that those are things that are going to aid you in your spiritual work, in your energy healing work. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now we're going to move into what is the most obvious on your path and what is hidden. So the obvious thing is this is the Ace of Bones, and more specifically, this card is called the Horn of Fire. Okay, And if you could see, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck, by the way. And this card just represents potential. This represents not just potential, but like great potential, massive potential, like fire, energy, movement, like we're going places, potential. Okay. So the fact that this was here is just, I think it's so funny because, like I said, I strongly feel like there are the people that picked this group, like some of you all within the group, have already started making steps towards this energy healing path that you're going towards. And so a lot of this is just going to be a reminder for you, or maybe just a clarification for something that you probably already knew. But even in that, just know that there is so much potential in what you're doing, or where you're headed towards, or what you're about to take on as an assignment. There's so much potential for you, and that's probably, and like I said, that's the most obvious thing, and I think some of you know it, but some of you may be needing to be reminded this, but there's so much potential in that. The hidden thing, though, that maybe you're not perhaps seeing is this is called the punishment card. Okay. It's very similarly related to the Judgment card in tarot and Rider-Waite tarot deck. But what the punishment card is really calling for is a restoration of peace, balance, harmony. It's the karmic balance being restored or reset, essentially. And so that's why I was saying, like, I feel like, again, some of you all have already started making steps towards this energy healing situation. And so for this, it's just really making sure you understand, because this isn't the most obvious thing that you're seeing right now. This is more subconscious, but sorry, that was a siren. This isn't the most obvious. This is the more subconscious of the two paths, but just to know that there is a karmic balance being restored, and this is all about just kind of setting things correct, harmonizing. This is the getting yourself together. There is a transition happening, and things that are not aligned are going to align. And this also helps to clarify this talk to your angels thing, because like I said, those of you all who are in a stage of worrying right now, even with this card, is telling you, I mean, yeah, things may be looking a little grim right now, or, things don't really necessarily look how you want them to look. Again, maybe you're practicing a bit of impatience right now, but it's to say that everything is going to balance itself out. Okay. And yeah, that's really what I'm seeing with that card, with this punishment card right here. And so now I pulled from the Rider-Waite deck as well to get a basically this is going to, the two cards that I'm about to pull next are essentially alternatives or things to keep in mind on this life path purpose journey. Okay, so the first one is the Three of Swords. So that came, right? Three of Swords. And then the Ace of Pentacles came out as well. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. So Three of Swords has kind of a bad reputation in the tarot deck when being pulled in readings. But really what that's telling you is that there is a bit of emotional processing that needs to take place with you guys. There's probably some things that have happened that you perhaps were maybe emotionally tied to, and essentially you have to accept that those things are no more, or they can't happen. And like I said, because energy healing has a lot to do with making sure that you are in a physically and mentally grounded and healthy space, so that you can be that tool that I feel like Spirit needs you to be, so that you can help people. Because of that, there are going to be sacrifices that you're going to have to make. And so with this Three of Swords, that's really telling me for you guys that a lot of these sacrifices that you're going to come to find out that you need to make are not going to be the easiest things to do. And they're going to be kind of hard, and that's going to be a struggle in and of itself. And so that is something to just keep in mind right here. Okay. Now, the other part of this is the Ace of Pentacles, which is telling me that the stuff, again, that you are worrying about, it really isn't necessary to worry about. I know it's all in your head, but just keep in mind that there is abundance and wealth on the other side of what it is that you're doing, should you stay the course. I'm feeling tarot is letting you know that the alternative to, choosing this, or not alternative to, but because you are choosing a alternative path, to be assured that you will be taken care of, and that there's opportunity for abundance and growth and wealth from this, and not even necessarily just on a monetary standpoint, but just in your way of life. Like, you'll find that things just come easy for you, that you stop seeing yourself in a position where you're wanting for things, because you'll realize soon that you have everything that you need. So that's something also to keep in mind, okay, is that Ace of Pentacles is just calling for abundance, that you'll be abundant in your journey as this energy healing. And energy healing, this can mean other different types of things. I didn't say this earlier, but energy healing could be your own private practice, or it could be even you working at a clinic or a healing center, a holistic center, a village. I mean, you could be anywhere, really. I mean, as long as there are people there, you'll be able to do the work that you are naturally able to do. I think it's just about really connecting with yourself to figure out and to really visualize where you want to be and where you see yourself at, if that makes any sense. But the last card that I'm going to pull is called the Road Sign. And this is really just like, I feel when you get to this point where you're starting to feel these two energies, this Three of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles, the sign that you want to kind of look for is, this is the first house, the body sign. And so really, and I feel like that is definitely wrapping up this Three of Swords card, and what I was saying, even with the energy healing, which is the first house deals with the body, right? So that's about your physical health. That's about how you feel. It's about being aware. And so, like I said, for energy healing and for energy healers, you are your most effective when you are in a state where your body is clean. And I don't want to get, like controversial or anything like that, but really, what clean is clean, okay? And so that means, connecting with nature. That means, and not only just like going in nature, but even with fruits and vegetables, like making sure that you're consuming nature and trying to make sure you're consuming nature in its most natural form, which is, uncooked foods. And not necessarily eating things that are, kind of not necessarily aiding the body on a spiritual level. And so with that, I mean, like when you eat death, for example, when you eat things that create mucus in the body, even so, like dairy, these are things that do not aid you in your energy healing or your spiritual development. And so for you guys, the fact that first house, the body, was pulled, it's just kind of a sign to let you know, like, maybe take a self-inquiry and ask yourself, do I physically feel my best right now? Like, if someone called me right now to perform energy work for them, would I be able to do that? Do I feel good? How do I feel? And to really ask yourself that question, and then be honest with yourself, because if you can't be honest with yourself, who can you be honest with? So really be honest with yourself and assess like where you are with that. But the body has to be in an optimal place in order for you to be as effective as you need to be to provide these energy healing services. Okay, because what you do is you are naturally able to channel energy. However, effectiveness depends on how you're treating your body. Okay, if that makes any sense. So that's really what I've got for you guys for group 3. I understand, again, that this is not going to resonate with every single person, but for those who it does resonate with, Ashe, I'm grateful for that. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you stay updated on, whatever I'm doing on this channel. And I'm going to go ahead and go into group 4's reading, but I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Okay, so this is going to be the reading for those of you all who picked group 4. The first 2 cards that I'm going to pick are going to represent the life's work, the general life's purpose. So we're going to start with spiritual teacher. That's what the card looks like. And it says, you heal with your classes, sessions, and seminars. And so I know this card could be pretty self-explanatory for most of you, but really it just talks about teaching being something that you are just purposely led to do. Your life is going to essentially, your life would essentially encompass just kind of being that source for people to go and learn and receive instruction and guidance from. And the thing is, I know with spiritual teachers, because that's pretty broad, just like counseling is for those that picked, I think it was group 2, but for you guys, group 4, spiritual teaching is, I see the essence really just being very calm, mild-mannered, quiet a lot of times. There's a certain wisdom that has to be acquired when going into the journey of spiritual teaching, especially since a lot of the things that you're going to be speaking about are going to be typically abstract to a lot of people that are going to be sitting under you. So there has to be a level of wisdom in knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I think that with the spiritual teacher card coming up, I'm really just seeing, you kind of detaching a lot. And I think in the book it actually says like spiritual teachers tend to detach a lot from outside worldly things. You kind of really just you just kind of really just create your own world, and you're kind of just for the most part, like you keep to yourselves a lot of times when you're not in an actual class, session, or seminar, like with the bottom of the card says. The other card that came out is family. That's what it says. And it on the bottom it says, loving your friends and family is central to your life purpose. And if you see here, it's a picture of a woman and a man, and then they have 2 kids, and then there's an angel kind of looking at them from behind. It appears maybe this angel can't really be seen. So that's interesting, maybe to just kind of keep in mind that you're always being watched and looked over. But I'm also seeing with these 2 cards that came out together, perhaps maybe your teaching center around concepts of family and tribe. The thing is with spiritual teachers, what's also stated is that not only are you guys relatively quiet and, mild-mannered, soft-spoken, but also some of you are very observant, and being observant is a great quality to have as a teacher, because you typically observe and prefer and like to observe, the subject at hand. And in this case, it would be, human nature, human behavior. And I feel like this would be, family would be a perfect place to start for some of you all who haven't really gotten into the spiritual teaching aspect yet. Family would be a great place to start to really practice essentially your skills, really develop your skills as far as being able to instruct and to teach. Also, not only is it helpful for your spiritual teaching practices, but this card is also calling you to make your family a priority. So if you are one of these two people, if you are if you do have a significant other, or you do have kids, this card is also telling you that loving those people in your life is going to also be connected to your life's purpose. And in the book, it actually says that your life purpose doesn't have to be something that makes you money. It just could simply be something that you were designed and destined to fulfill and do on this time here. I do see that as well, that with family, the card is really just saying that you want to focus on really just loving and being that source of love for your family. And it says your friends here too. So for your family and your friends, those who you identify as being close to. And I just want to be specific as well. It doesn't necessarily mean family as far as, bloodline. It could be a family in the sense of what you decide and determine family is. Whatever definition family is for you, whatever resonates with you is what you should go off of. Okay, so don't go off of my definition. Whatever resonates with you and whoever you consider family is who I'm talking about. Okay. And also with that, this card also talks about the need to practice forgiveness, which is so important as well. If there is something that has happened within your family, maybe something that happened towards you or to you, you were on the receiving end of something. This card is also calling you to put yourself in positions where you can forgive. And I do see that aiding in the spiritual teaching card as well, because a lot of times teachers speak from experiences. It helps when you come from a place of being empathetic because you've been there, you've experienced that, you have actual real stories to tell about that. It really helps when you're trying to connect with other people, when they feel like you know what they're talking about because you've gone through something similar. And so there's some forgiveness that may be needed to been accomplished within this family card as well, that for some of you all that'll resonate with. As far as like if you're holding a grudge against someone, or someone has done something in your past and you've always resented them for it, this would be a good time to practice forgiving, and not forgiving for them, but of course always we forgive for ourselves first so that we can move on, because that is hurting us. So just to put that out there. Now, the next two cards that are going to be pulled are going to be what is most obvious in your path and what is the hidden, not so obvious. So the first one is the most obvious, and this card is called love. That's what it's called, love. And again, this is just really talking about reconnecting with true purpose, and just kind of unionizing with that. And if you can see, they're both kind of holding palms, and the palms are wrapped together by a snake. It's all about union, and this could be perceived as with your purpose, or it could be perceived as with a significant other as well. But really what it's kind of symbolizing altogether for the most obvious is that you have to love what it is that you're doing, and love who it is that you're with, and love what it is that you see. That being pulled as the most obvious thing is because I feel like some of you all really already have gotten to a place where you understand that you are a teacher of sorts, and that you are connected. Maybe you came out early on just like already being connected on a spiritual sense, and you're just now realizing that you're meant to be here to teach. But I think that really molding your reality into something that you love is going to be one of your first tasks to really complete. So essentially what I'm saying is when you look around, and then you ask yourself, like, is what I'm looking at what I want to see? that would be something to really work on and consider doing first and foremost. Is just making sure that your reality represents what it is that you need it to represent, so that you are most effective for being the teacher that you are destined to be. And again, that also includes going with the family. I'll move this over for a second. That also includes with the family. I feel like your first task is really to work on your family and use whatever teaching methods, whatever it is that you want to say or specialize within your spiritual teaching. You start that with your family. Like, make your family that. Make your family the first, students of your classes. Practice what you're going to preach, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. And so to make sure that your family is all operating, not all operating, because you can't, I'm not talking about other people or, your family and how they're going to operate from, but make sure that you are operating from a place of love towards friends and family. And then we go back into what I was talking about earlier with forgiveness. And it's just about making sure that you are constantly walking in a state of love, because that is going to be something that encompasses your profession. As far as spiritual teaching, you're going to have to come from a place of loving what it is that you're talking about and loving the people that are coming to sit under you. Okay, so it's just about, this card is just about unionizing and harmony. So the most hidden card that came up in the reading is this 9 of bows. And if you see here, the guy is kind of just sitting, and and he's got his head down, and he's got someone in the sky reaching out. It's a very graphic, detailed picture. This is the fear of being alone. This is the fear of traveling. Basically, the fear of going outside of what you are used to seeing, doing things that are different outside of your normal routine. And the fact that that's in the hidden position really says that maybe perhaps you think that you're ready to step outside your comfort zone and perhaps maybe, go to that retreat, or, make the move to have a conversation with the family member that you need to have a conversation with. Perhaps maybe you think that you're ready, but subconsciously, you're actually still scared. And so subconscious or unconscious hidden paths, like this card, really just represents you needing to have a honest conversation with yourself to understand where this is coming from and how to address it. Because before we can fix anything, we have to, of course, be aware that it exists and accept that it exists, right? So after having the honest conversation with yourself, and again, this isn't going to resonate with everyone, so just want to put that out there. This doesn't have to be your card. But for those who it does resonate with, if you do feel like maybe on a subconscious level you are a little afraid to put yourself out there or step out there, one, acknowledging that is a real thing that you're dealing with, that can begin the healing process that you need in order to get to a place where you're comfortable, to tell yourself, like, I know I'm feeling this way, but why am I feeling like that? Like, where is this coming from? And then, do the essentially shadow work to resolve this energy right here, so that it's not all dark and you're not feeling alone. Okay, so that's something to really think about as far as the hidden path. This is all subconscious. This is something that is going to require you having some real honest conversations, and not necessarily with other people, but with yourself. So yeah, that's something that, you really might want to, take heed with if that's something that resonates with you. So the next cards are going to be the fork in the roads. And basically what that is just highlighting alternative paths along your purpose. Okay. So the first one is that was pulled was the 4 of Swords. right? Four of Swords typically is all about retreating. It's all about resting, relaxation. So of course, within this realm, you can choose to be pretty. You could choose to be relatively inactive, essentially, like not doing much. Like perhaps maybe you just have like a couple of people that you work with and help, or maybe perhaps you just focus solely on your family, and you just don't really do much with the spiritual teaching. That's possible. That's something that you can do. Of course, there's no right or wrong. It's just something that you are naturally. This video is all just about what you're naturally inclined to do, what your purpose is. But for the Four of Swords to come out, it really just says to me that perhaps maybe there's a part of you that just doesn't really want to go that direction, that really just wants to get to a place where everything is just easy, and maybe you don't want to put yourself out there. Maybe with the Nine of Bows right here, like maybe that Four of Swords is saying like, I really don't want to put myself out there. It's a bit too comfortable, and I just want to take it easy. And that's fine. That's totally fine. King of Swords in reverse came out as an alternative as well. So with this King of Swords card, what you may be facing is a almost like an insecurity of what to say. It just really seems like, for me, some of you guys really could be dealing with some doubt, like some self-doubt, insecurity issues, which, it's kind of like, as a spiritual teacher, no one's perfect. But when you get to a place of like obtaining certain just wise, like coming from a certain place, a frequency of just having wisdom, and understanding, the way that this world works, then you kind of will grasp the concept of what insecurity is, what fear is, and where you stand in conjunction of that. And so you doubting, because this to me is reading doubt, like doubting what it is that you feel, or what it is that you are going to say. Maybe you get to a place where you created a course or a class, or you decided you want to host a seminar, and then you start to doubt that you know what you're talking about, or you start to doubt that people are not going to show up to listen to you, or people are going to disagree with you, or you're it's a lot of doubt that I'm seeing. So that's something to really you might want to really kind of resolve and kind of move past. I think that is definitely because continuing to go down this path is going to lead you into hitting like barriers over and over again, because you're going to constantly be in a state of doubting everything, and it's going to cause you to miss out on opportunities. Is basically what I'm trying to say. It's going to cause you to miss out on opportunities. So right here, you have the option to just chill out, not really, just kind of live life really easy, and out of conflict, out of controversy, out of the limelight, spotlight, just kind of just very incognito. And then this is the other thing too, which is just not addressing the self-doubt, self-issue, the insecurity of self, and just kind of, really it's going to prevent progression in the way that you want it to go. And then this third card actually came out as well, and this is the Empress card. And so this card is always talking. This card is so funny because it came up, and then we have the Love card, part of the Shaman deck as well back here. So this card really just tells me that the other alternative for you all is to choose love, and to let love guide you, and to let love progress you forward, and to kind of just put that over you like a legitimate cloak, and just walk in confidence. This is a card of understanding self. Some of you all may be actual women that picked this specific deck, or just have a very high feminine energy. It's to say that you are relatable, and people do connect with you, whether you think they do or not. And on top of that, you choosing to walk in a state of love, and not only love for other people, but love for self. I feel like, this is going to really aid you. I see if you choose this path, you really starting to reap benefits of being this teacher, of really reconciling with the family members you need to, and really focusing on loving the people that need to be loved. Because even with this Empress card coming up again, and with the love card back here, and then on top of that, this family card spoke about that. It said, loving. This family card says, loving your friends and family is central to your life purpose. Your life purpose is, part of it is centering around love, and so for all three cards to really validate that repeatedly, there's going to be an opportunity for you to it's going to be an opportunity for you to essentially walk in that direction and to choose love. And perhaps maybe that's a word like love. Maybe that's a word that you really need to, if you haven't already yet, which I don't feel like you have, the word love, you really need to define for yourself. And so, perhaps not just simply, going on the internet and searching the definition, or, relying on someone else's definition, but really go within self, go internally to understand what love actually means to you and what love looks like. I think that will definitely aid you in your walk, walk towards being a spiritual teacher and being able to essentially unconditionally love your friends and your family. So that's what I'm seeing for that Empress card. And then the last card for group 4 is going to be the sign. And so basically this card is going to essentially represent what to look for when these three kind of options or alternatives arise. So this is going to be kind of like your flashing lights, like, hey, this is what's happening. What are you going to do? Okay, so the card that came out was Solar Eclipse Revolution. And so with that card, it's just really all about change. And so for me, if we're just going off of the spread, right? If this represents change, then to go and do the different, to go and do something different than just kind of choosing the easy way, or going and continuing to have this insecure, I don't know if this is right, unsure about what I'm saying or how it's going to be received, to go in the direction of just radical, dramatic change and just go. I think this is all about action and taking action and just riding that wave and not really caring about the results of it, not really caring about if you mess up or if you need to prepare more or if someone likes it or if someone doesn't. That's something that you might want to look into, you might want to kind of watch out for, is the opportunity to just make a completely radical, different change in your life. And then really, maybe reflect back on these options and see, did this really resonate with me? Because I don't know if I necessarily I'm not getting that this is something that a lot of you all that picked this card are really, feeling in this exact moment. Some of you might be, but I feel like most of you who picked group 4 are feeling this is more prediction. This is more something that I feel like I'm anticipating happening, and not so much something that you're in right now. But I do feel like this sign of revolution, the sign of ultimate change, I feel like there's an opportunity that's going to come about, and when it does, you'll be able to really sit and analyze these three to figure out what path you want to go on, essentially. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you guys for group 4. I know this reading's not going to resonate with everyone. I understand that, but for those who it did resonate with, and for those who understand what I'm saying, I'm grateful for that. Ashe. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.